talking about everything Private Eye, and I got a special guest in the building, Eugenia Kuzmina. Did I say it right?
Eugenia Kuzmina.
Oh,
I didn't like how you said that.
See,
it's so good.
You see? Okay, I'm going to do it again. Eugenia Kuzmina.
You got it.
Okay, so I had to do it right. It rhymes, so you can't mess it up.
You're the Russian spy now.
I know.
Russian
Okay,
spy. You're recruited.
Okay, as long as you recruit me, then I'm good.
It's a joke.
Okay, so there's so much to your story, but the first thing I want to get into is how you got involved with the Private Eye.
Well, Jack Cook is an amazing, amazing director. I'm just extremely fortunate to work with such talent. Being an actor, I think the most important is people you're surrounded by, and trusting your director and the whole team is everything. And maybe 2 years ago, Jack and a couple of producers called me for this other film called The Elevator with Eric Roberts. And he gave me this amazing, incredible role, which is, the lead role, which rarely happens in Hollywood. A lot of times I'm like the bad guy or, the girl of the oldest profession who's like this hot guy. Yes. So Jack calls me and he's like, okay, we're going to hire you. I didn't even have to audition for that film. And I had to call him back and ask him are you sure I have an accent, And he's like, no, I just need you to know how to act, which was an amazing, I was so grateful he took a chance. It was a big breakthrough, in my career. And then we worked together. It was an incredible time on the elevator set. I just really felt like it's a teamwork and we all wanted to make it for the best for the film. That was amazing. And then Jack has this other passion project, which, the script that he wrote, and he's just so deep and has so incredibly interesting, unique ideas. Yeah. I don't want to, do a spoiler alert about the film, but it is very unique, the story that, And he said, I have this role, it's a supporting role, but there's a couple other actors from The Elevator, like Matt Rife, I don't know, Eric Roberts, I think, Elliot, who's an amazing actor as well. It was just a pleasure. It was pandemic, so there wasn't a lot going on, and it was so exciting to be on set. We kind of made it happen, did rehearsals. I love the rehearsal process. I brought in one of the actors who is this incredible Russian actor and very interesting. So I had nothing but an amazing time.
That's beautiful to hear. I mean, you hear about it all the time. We have to work with our friends because we're going to be spending so many hours on set. And if there is no friends on set, it kind of gets mundane and boring and not fun. So it's beautiful to hear that you actually had a great experience. Now, I know you've had a really extensive, long career. Started when you were 15, correct? Like you were doing ice skating?
Actually, before.
Before that?
Yeah, no, ice skating was at 6.
Yeah.
I finished that career, I think, at 8.
Okay.
So I had to switch my careers at that time. And I thought I want to be a professional tennis player for a while. Because there are lots of cute guys who are playing, that route. I was bored in school more. And then they scouted me. They found me on the streets of Russia to start modeling because the companies like Coca-Cola and L'Oreal, they needed local models. It was, the end of Soviet times. Like the walls started coming down, the capitalism started coming, all these products, they needed somebody local to advertise. And I think I have mixed European with Russian face features, which is not my talent, it's just my parents' talent, I guess.
Hey, modeling is not as easy as it looks, so
right?
It is a
You
talent.
would know,
yeah,
right?
it is a talent. Don't take that from yourself.
Yeah. So I got into modeling, and then I also did the show, which is like a version of SNL in Russia, which is really weird.
Okay.
It involves a bunch of kids and doing these funny, sketches. And I don't know why they pulled me up on the street, and I was part of the sketch, and it kind of got me interested in acting so much more than modeling. And acting came much later, because I was so focused on making money, supporting my family. And when I had an opportunity to move to Los Angeles, a lot of times they think that models can act. Some people think that models can't act. It's both valid things.
Yeah.
So I got into the industry by
How
kind
was
of
the
accident.
crossover from modeling to acting? Did you find it easy, or did you find it a little bit more tough?
so challenging. People
Yeah.
don't understand. Like they think like, oh, you look pretty and like you're photogenic and we just like stick you in the camera. But it's completely two different professions. Like modeling it's almost like dancing. You put on this facade and you have to look perfect and you sell something. I always kind of used it as a storytelling tool. So every time, clothes, they have to tell the story. So I
Yeah.
felt like I always was more an actor than a model. And then I got lucky. I got cast in Rodrigo Prieto film for Tribeca with Elle Fanning,
Oh, wow.
just because they needed like really messed up models, something dark. And
Yeah.
on the audition, they're like, "What is the worst thing that models do?" And I started talking about all these disorders and how terrible of a business it can be.
Yeah, okay.
Behind the scenes, and they're like, "Okay, you're cast. You are messed up." I think I just had a baby. I was like, all my emotions were just a wreck, So they're like, "Okay, you'll be like this messed up person in the film." And after that, I got a lot of opportunities, but I was fired
Oh, wow.
from a couple sets. I remember once
Why?
with Zac Efron because I didn't know how to wash the dishes. Models, they don't.
Wait,
I
you were
was
fired
hired-
because you couldn't wash the dishes?
I was a bartender.
Oh,
In
okay.
the scene, I had to be a bartender.
Oh,
And
okay.
I don't know how to bartend.
Okay.
My modeling doesn't include like
Yeah,
knowing how
yeah,
to
yeah.
bartend. And I didn't do my research. I was terrible. It just was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm with Zac Efron in this film. My ego went to my head
Yeah.
completely, and I had to dismantle that. I had to go back to acting classes, and I have to really understand the profession. It's all about, being there for other people, and it's not about fighting for trailers. Not that I
Yeah.
was fighting for trailers, but I
Yeah.
feel I got really messed up perspective,
Yeah.
And I was grateful that I had to learn and take my time.
That's awesome. Speaking of research, what did you do to research for the role on Private Eye?
It is a very stylized film. It's
Yeah.
very specific. The story is very unique. And the characters that I'm working on in the scene, they're, I don't know if I can reveal that, but they're very.
Jack,
it's
can we
unique.
reveal what she did in the scene? Is that gonna mess up? Hey.
Well, my character, he has to act like he was, in my eyes, an old man, but he
Okay.
also wasn't in his eyes.
Okay.
So it was very psychological, and I had to find very nuanced, ways to talk to that person who is
Yeah.
thinking he's young looking, and so it was very quite a process.
Yeah.
But I always come down. I love that Jack does rehearsals. I think rehearsals are such a blessing, especially on a film or TV set. A lot of times you don't have time, so you have to do everything by yourself. I usually hire a coach or work with like different, environments to research the characters and where they're located. But this one was a little bit easier for me, just because I understood my character's name is Olga. She's Russian, so I didn't have to play like an alien from Mars who,
Yeah.
and do that research of a drug addict or
Yeah.
whatever it is. I knew that it was a tough character, so they're all elements of yourself that you bring. I feel it's important to find, but it's all about the relations and who are the other people.
Yeah.
And also, there's an element of comedy, so it was about timing.
Yeah.
And I was so lucky because, opposite me was Matt Tribe, who's doing so well. Shout out to Matt.
Hey.
Killing it in comedy now,
Yeah.
so famous. So excited about that for the film, and for everything else. But it helps when you work with actors who understand comedy and timing.
Yeah.
And we just had a blast,
That's
on,
amazing.
on set.
That's amazing. And now, how long have you been in LA?
Well, my son is 15, so maybe like 12 years, I would say. I came to New York right away because I had contracts with L'Oreal
Yeah.
and other things, and kind of, modeling on that level, it requires you almost being like an athlete. And I
Yeah.
had to step back once my kids were in school because I couldn't just fly from Brazil to New York to like everywhere else. And it was a tough decision, but I'm really glad I made it because I just fell in love with other creative processes, and it's a process of finding your voice and working with
Yeah.
amazing people and talent.
Do you miss modeling at all?
I modeled, I have a show like after tomorrow, it's LA Fashion Week.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to do 2 shows that I had to audition for,
Yeah.
And I don't complain. It's the nature of the job. Like I've
Yeah.
walked all the major runways, but I
Yeah.
had again to audition. It's like every day is a new thing.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about it.
And you just wrote a book.
Yeah, I did.
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, I was in Barnes and Noble. We did a presentation. It was sold out. I'm really excited. It's called Model Mom, and it's all about. It's a story, part of like stories of other women that I did in pandemic, telling your story. I thought it was. We were in a time where everybody was so locked out. There was no place to like connect, and I think for any artist, right, real connection is so important. So I was trying to find a way to connect, and writing is a really healing process that I find, and also not being seen, in a way, like if you're seen, there's like a certain expectation, a projection on you. I found writing, it is just an easy way to like spill things, the truth, authenticity on the story. And it was a story about finding your authentic self, because I found when I was modeling, I had to be like a model, this perfect self, all put together. And then as a mom, I had to put like sweatpants and look like I haven't slept. And I just became like very, bipolar almost.
Yeah. It's interesting. I have 2 kids. And
you do?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you look like you're 17.
Hey, I'll receive
what?
it. I'll take it. I'll take it as long as I can take
can't
it.
believe that.
But my wife, she did. I remember that process. It was like she felt like her old self had to die.
Yeah.
And she bucked up against it really heavy. And I just was along with that journey. I was just trying to be there as a support. And she was really going through that mourning of, now the world looks at me as a mom and only a mom, but I am so much more than a mom.
Wow.
And so I'm excited to read your book, because it sounds like that is the essence of the story.
Yeah,
that transformation.
I started a blog, like interviewing other parents and see how they found the true thing and how they can do like career, because there's so much expectations from society. Like, as a model, like I modeled clothes for moms, and like you're supposed to dress not sexy, and like I don't know, that's not me, it's not authentic me, why do I have to give up that part of myself? And I think it's more European maybe like than American. But also the other expectations, I thought it was very important to shed anything and just be true to the core.
That's awesome. And is there anything that excites you right now? Like anything that you're working on, anything that's coming up in the future that you're looking forward to?
Well, celebrating the private eye first and foremost.
Hey, let them know.
Friday party. I love being with these people. I feel like almost like family.
Yeah.
Really excited to support them in anything they do, anytime in a career. This is the main goal, I'm really excited about that. And then, SAG-AFTRA is still on strike, so I'm waiting a little bit for that. But I created a show, Models of Comedy, so we do stand-up as well.
You do comedy as well.
Yeah, we do stand-up.
Did any
exciting.
of that enter into the storyline of this film? Was it like a little bit easier because you have that comic background?
Yeah.
Or was it like different than stand-up completely?
It's a completely different thing. I feel it's amazing to make people laugh. It's such a skill, and it brings me so much joy. But it's a little bit being in control when you're on stage, rather than as an actor, you have to completely give up and like just be, there for other people, like people in the. It's a very different skill, I find. But it was fun because I was with other comedians on the show, and Elliot, who is an actor in the film, he did stand up with us after we filmed another film in New York.
Did stand up?
Yes, I met him to stand up, and he was pretty freaking hilarious. He was so funny.
I've known Elliot for a very long time.
He didn't tell you.
And I don't think he told me. But what I will say is, there's any one of my friends who would ever do comedy, is gonna be Elliot. So I am not surprised that he went up there.
Showed up, and I remember there was like Stormy Daniels' bus because she's doing stand up. And we just, with Jack went to New York, like clubs after the set, because we had so much energy and excitement and, support system for each other. And it was great. He killed it.
Yeah, I believe it.
He can replace Jimmy Kimmel anytime.
And was there any scenes in the movie that you played in that stick out to you as a favorite scene?
I had one and only scene in the film, and that was my only and favorite scene in the film.
hey, let them know.
No, I'm joking. I had one film scene, it was a cameo in this one, which is amazing because I think no matter how big role it is for you, you bring such an essence or whatever, you are there for a reason. And our scene was very easy. We shot it at night in the store, because I know a lot of times with indie films, it can be very challenging. You have to be such a trooper. Things go right and left. It's not, but you can come up with an amazing result when people are really passionate and invested. So it was definitely an amazing process, especially in COVID,
Yeah, I'm sure that experience was eye-opening, so to speak, and it maybe made the set feel a little bit more grateful, because it's like, we don't get this all the time, and now we get to come together and make something that's really cool. Yeah. How has the strike been for you? Has it been a struggle at all?
Yeah, I wouldn't lie. Like on Instagram, it always looks like, like I'm doing this many projects and it's amazing. And that's what I feel, it's almost like I love being on set because it's all about storytelling and connection and working and creativity. And not having that opportunity, you really have to question yourself, like, where do I find, those things that bring you joy?
Yeah.
And also just supporting artists. I think it's so important. There's so many changes with AI. I noticed it in modeling. Like, there's somebody who stole my eyes recently on Instagram.
Wait, what?
I know, and attached it to a face from a different race and completely changed it and created an avatar. And I was like, what do you do, man? Like, it's my soul, it's my eyes. But we have to adjust to this new reality. Like, as artists, I think the best thing is we're very creative. So even if AI will replace some parts of us somewhere, we'll find other avenues. Like I found this avenue on Bigo. It's a live streaming platform. And, you have a message to tell and a story to tell, and you find the canvas, sort of.
Acting or modeling?
Oh, no, don't ask me that.
Being an author.
Okay.
What is the main one?
I know. It's so funny because I approach everything from the time I wake up to when I go to bed with this question. I think I really dug deeper into that. Why am I doing what I'm doing? No matter what's the medium, am I working with amazing, talented directors like this one, actors? Like, is it going to be something from the project which I'm going to grow? Am I having something to give to people?
Yeah.
Is it the quality of the project? So I don't think specifically. It's so easy. A lot of times I feel people try to box me into one thing. Yeah. But I try to break stereotypes and I think you grow as a person, because otherwise you just get stuck. Like, I just do Russian spies and I'll always do Russian spies. And I try maybe to say no to some projects and do other things that the doors will open for.
Is there any role in specific that you dream of getting that usually doesn't come your way?
It's so funny because I feel acting is such a shadow work. So a lot of times what you don't acknowledge in real life, you kind of want to do that because then you kind of heal yourself. It's a really weird thing to be an actor. I talk a lot to therapists about that, and I think just playing somebody in mental institution or crazy or having all these aspects of, what is it like for a woman to go through a breakdown and not be what society tells you to be, or like Ibsen House. I love that, the dollhouse thing, because I think a lot of times there are all these things that you try to fill in that society tells you have to fill in. Oh, you have to be this, and you have to have kids by a certain age, and you have to do that. And I always try to find characters that are very dark and go through something to get to the light, so to say. I think it's more interesting.
It's the journey. You love the journey.
I love the journey,
Well, where can they find you? If, let's say, they watched The Private Eye, they loved your character.
You can't find me, it's a private eye.
Let them know where they can follow you and stay in tune with what you're going on.
Well, Instagram is kind of the platform that I use the most, just because, for models, there are no magazines as much anymore. So the way to monetize, and I'm a self-sufficient kind of person, so I have to find new ways of revenue, and also now not being on set. Instagram, Eugenia Kuzmina, and I help other models if they want to start out, or I try to have a real community, and I do it all myself. And
I love that. This will be the last question. I'm just really, and I have my own experience with this, but I was curious about the way that you felt about this. So I've noticed, because I did modeling before, and I noticed that there was a difference in when I walked on set as model number one.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I walked on set as a character that was casted in a movie or a short. Now, did you notice the difference from going on all these sets as a model
Yeah.
versus when you walked on set as an actor that was a character?
Oh, for sure. You know, in modeling, they don't ask you like if you want your hair to be teased. They just like tease your hair,
Yeah.
rip it off. You know, they don't ask for your opinion. You're just an image. A lot
Yeah.
of times I find myself dissociating from who I am, sort of to say. I was fired for speaking at the job.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? So I
Wow.
was like, and you take it personally. You're like, okay, I won't speak anymore, I guess. You know, I'll just like be like this and do what you tell me to do when I walk, you know. And I love it. I still love the creative process of like designers, and I really love being part of that scene, but I don't attach to it as much. And as an actor, I feel people really, if you're lucky and you work with amazing directors, you know, you respect their process. They're directors who don't talk to actors. I respect, you know, they respect mine, hopefully.
Yes.
And it is just much more collaborative environment, and I feel you're there for like a bigger reason to tell a story that might change somebody's life one day.
Yeah.
Because, you know, how many times you walk in the film, and how many times now there's so much loneliness and mental health, you know, problem, and we're not as connected in LA. And after COVID, I find, you know, people are much more like reluctant to establish and be curious about new relationships.
Yeah.
And with all the computer stuff, we're always online. So I found just walking into that set, it's just like such a gratitude, you know.
I love that. Well, it's been amazing speaking to
Thank
you.
you.
I'm really excited for everyone to watch The Private Eye and see you in it. So please check it out. Also, you know where to find Eugenia.
Yeah. Yes, you do know.
Okay.
Okay.
You got me second
Don't
guessing
try too
myself now. And everybody just stay tuned, man. Private Eye's out soon, hopefully. We don't have a date yet, right? February 2nd. Okay.
Amazing. Valentine's, you guys. Almost Valentine's.
Valentine's Day, almost.
Yes.
And it's a kind of a romantic story.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
every story has romance and drama and comedy,
Take
and
your
it's
date
life.
to go see The Private Eye. Stop playing. All right. Thank you so much for
Thank
talking
you.
to me.
Thank you so much.